folks. It's James Guttman. It's High Pod on Dad. It is Friday. Come here, bud. It is Friday. It's the 4th of July. It is 2025. Thank you so much for checking us out. Whether you found me on Spotify, Audible, iHeartRadio, Lucas and I are all over those. That's where the podcast is available. It's also on highpodondad.com. All the archives are there as well. And perhaps you're seeing me. If you are, how are you? You are then on YouTube. Is what that means. You're on YouTube at our channel, Hi Blog I'm Dad. He threw me off with that sometimes when he comes in. I love this kid. So yeah, if you see me, that's where it is. Do me a favor, like, subscribe, hit the bell. Do all that stuff you're supposed to do on YouTube. We're fairly new there. This is our third week putting videos up of the podcast and various other videos too, speaking events and things that I've done in the past. And I got to tell you, it's really important, I think, kind of doing some of these video updates, letting you guys get a chance to see my son, see who he is. I think it's a big part of our story. And I never really thought about it. I had a friend suggest doing these videos a few weeks ago. I haven't regretted it. In fact, I think it's been a game changer a lot because I want people to see who we are, who my son is, understand who he is, and kind of get the idea that you don't have to have things easy necessarily in order to see the positivity in it. My son has severe autism. He's nonverbal. He's 14, but the work that I have to do for him and the things that it requires in order to keep him healthy and happy are worth it because he is just it's like a ray of sunshine in my life, just like his sister is. His sister is neurotypical. She's 17. And the bond that I have with both of them is unique, but at the same time, it's everything to me. It's everything to me. So this has been a great opportunity to kind of show people who he is and explain who he is and show our family to everybody. So thank you for allowing me to do that as well. And finally, highblogomdad.com that has our blogs Monday, Wednesday, Hi World on Dad, available everywhere, audiobook, digital, written. There's a lot of stuff to mention. So thank you. Thank you for checking it out. Thank you for your feedback. If you do have Hi World on Dad, do me a favor, leave a review. You can go on Amazon, you can go, I know they do reviews everywhere. It's weird. Spotify you can put stars on there for the audiobook. Different audiobook sites allow you to write it as well. So yeah, it means a lot. And it helps. It helps people discover what we're doing. It helps get a chance to share our story. And that's what I've been trying to do. And as a lot of you know, a big part of what I do is about honesty. I don't want to misrepresent anything. I don't want to pretend things are a certain way. I never want to pretend like this has always been easy for me. I don't want to pretend like there's no struggles involved with having a child like mine. There's struggles with having any child. I have 2 kids. My daughter's neurotypical, and there are struggles with raising a neurotypical 17-year-old girl. There's definite struggles with raising a neurotypical 17-year-old girl. But I think any parent listening to this knows that, that it's not easy. And I think sometimes we lose sight of that. And just because we talk about things in a positive way, just because we see the beauty in life, doesn't mean there isn't a reality to it. And I've always tried to present that reality. And the reality is that it took me a while to get to where I am. It took me a while to appreciate that my son's autism makes him special, makes him unique, makes him a beautiful person. Lucas is unlike anybody, and I've said this over and over again. I've given you all the reasons for it, but it's really until you really see it, like in practice, having him come over and really not care. Like, look, see this? Come here, Lukey, come here. This is a video that he has seen 8,000 times. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 3 bags full, right? Come here, bud. And he is so happy over this video, and it's one of those things that fills me with happiness. I love you, buddy. And come on. Come on, if you're watching this on YouTube, he just hugged my head and gave me a kiss. Get out of here. He's 14. That's a beautiful thing. And that's a big part of how autism affects him. Now, if he was 14 and he was neurotypical, would he still be grabbing me and kissing me and, showing me love and affection? Perhaps, maybe. It all depends on kind of who he is. But it's not lost on me that perhaps being nonverbal, perhaps having to express himself in different ways, perhaps not getting caught up in all of our nonsense in the world where we're out there and we're talking smack about each other or we're trying to get over on people. Lucas doesn't manipulate at all. Lucas doesn't want to manipulate. Lucas doesn't try to make you feel bad about yourself. to get what he wants. Lucas doesn't try to, finagle anything. If anything, he's kind of out in the open about it. Like if Lucas wants a snack and you tell him no snack and he really wants that snack, he just go grab the snack. But he doesn't like set up intricate plans, and he doesn't think like that. And it's funny because when I talk about autism appreciation, a lot of people, they hear that and they go, oh, that's great, but I don't think you fully appreciate what it's like until you're in a situation where you're around people who are acting that way or people who are treating you a certain way. And then you have this kid with his unconditional love waiting for you. And I'm just like, there are some days, man, where Lucas just keeps me going, where he's the guy, he's the person that just makes me feel important, special, and needed and wanted. That took a while. And there was a long while. And I've written all these different things, especially if you go back through the blog. If you go into this book, by the way, I could talk about this book more, Hi World, I'm Dad. And I bring it up because I can tell you guys to go through this blog and go back, at this point, 8 years and read about our journey. And you'll see how things have changed when he was little and the things I wrote about. But the thing with this book is that I cover everything in the book. So if you read through it, you're going to read about today. You're going to read about some of the early days and some of the stories that affected me as a parent. And there are and were big stories, man. There's things that I don't even talk about anymore that if you go back on the blog because they're from years ago, but I know people deal with it. For example, today, I know there's people listening to this that have, young children, maybe just diagnosed, and there are struggles that they face that I faced at one time that I don't really face anymore. One of them, and I thought about it today, was age-appropriate gifts and toys and the things that he does. My son doesn't really play with toys the way you would expect, right? So it's not like you can't give him a car and he doesn't do vroom vroom, and he might spin the wheel, he might watch its reflection, he might listen for a sound that it makes. There's different ways that he plays with different things, and it's always kind of been like that. And I tell that, I say famous story, and how famous it is, but in terms of this blog, it's pretty famous, of the first day that I entered his world by trying to play with him, not as I told him we should play with his toy, but playing with it the way he was, by pulling the toy, bringing it out from underneath the red chair in my living room. I think back on that, man, that was an amazing day. He had been always playing with this toy in a way that I had tried to correct. No, Lucas, that's not how you play with it. You don't stare in the mirror. You don't put. And rather than doing that, I sat with him and I did it the way he was doing it. And he gave me a hug, much like you saw before. And since that day, I felt like a better connection to him. But that was a lot of his toys are like that. He's not necessarily, playing Play-Doh or stacking things up. It's not in the way that's considered appropriate. And because of that, a lot of the toys that he's enjoyed through the years are not necessarily the toys that you would expect a 14-year-old to want to enjoy. And like, for example, leapfrog toys. He loves those remote control little, leapfrog devices. We have them in the car. When he was little, it would be like almost like baby toys, and it was so hard for me as a dad because I went through this struggle of, do I encourage this? Do I buy him infant toys for Christmas? Do I buy him these? I mean, infant toys. I'm talking little cars that went with the little eyes open up. Like for babies, a lot of the things that you buy them all involve kind of that flashy, surprising, like, oh, the wheels move and then the eyes open and close, those kind of toys. And he liked it, but he had outgrown it physically, chronologically. So I struggled. And there were times, definitely when he was younger, where you would go out and try to buy him things that seemed more appropriate. Like he liked the Wiggles. So I bought him Wiggles action figures. Didn't care. It was like nothing. Bought him a Wiggles toy guitar. Didn't care. Didn't want the Wiggles toy guitar. But when it comes to like See and Say, like the one, the farmer says, I don't think the farmer's on, the cow says moo. He loved those. And I bought those for him long past the date that most parents would be buying their kids See and Says. And it was a struggle. I remember I was working, this is years and years ago. He was little. He was like 4 years old, 5 years old. And I was at a thrift store and they had like a baby toy. It was like one of those little infant toys that had a bell on it and stuff. So I'm walking around this thrift store and I'm the only one in this thrift store. And to this day, I shouldn't have gone into the thrift store. It was not a chain of thrift stores. It was kind of like a mom and pop churchy thrift store. And I went over and I picked up this this toy, and I'm walking around looking for other stuff to get for him. And I guess this woman figured she was going to do a hard sell, which I hate. I hate aggressive salespeople. That's why I never go to gadgets and gizmos. Ugh. And I don't like being chased around. I don't like being sold things, especially if I'm already buying something anyway. And I'm walking around with this toy, and I'm looking around, and I hear this woman in the background. She goes, "How old's the baby?" And I'm like, "Oh my God." I just keep walking. And now she's picking up baby toys and following me behind. "How old's the baby?" I'm like, "Oh my God." And she wouldn't stop. And I'm trying to like ignore her, do the "oh, I didn't hear you" thing. Um, and I remember just being like so frustrated. And to be honest with you, I don't remember if I told her, that he had autism and he wasn't a baby. I forgot what I said. But I remember feeling in that moment so frustrated. Like, just leave me alone. Like, and it's one of those things now to think back on it. She didn't know. I mean, granted, look, don't leave me alone while I'm shopping. So it wasn't nefarious. She wasn't doing it to like be mean or to upset me, but it upset me. It was something that I was struggling with at the time. There's nothing worse when you're worried about your child having uh, probable disability. To then turn around and buy them a toy for Christmas that literally has an infant on the box. And I remember I wrote about this when the blog first came out, and I said that I wanted to punch the baby on the box. And I say you don't read too many autism parenting blogs that involve wanting to punch an infant in the face, but here we are. What are you going to do about it? Um, but that was a struggle, and that's something that we had to get past. Now, what do I do today? Well, today he gets whatever he wants. Lucas wants a toy, he gets a toy. Lucas likes something, he gets it. I let him pick it out. We'll go to the store. I go, "What do you want?" Sometimes he picks it, sometimes he doesn't. I know what he likes, and a lot of his presents at this point are dupes. They're duplicates. That's always been kind of the best way to go about it. I try to find at holidays and birthdays something new that he might like. I don't go to the autism friendly toys anymore. I've thrown out more, or given away, I should say, more than you would imagine. Weighted blankets and this little stretchy suit that he wore. He looked like a starfish. It was cute. All these things that kids with autism love. My kid doesn't necessarily love it. He doesn't love squishies. He doesn't love fidget spinners. He doesn't like any of that stuff. He likes what he likes. He likes electronics. He likes his iPad. He likes things like that. So when the holidays come around, he'll get a new device, or he'll get a new, leapfrog toy or something like that. Something that makes noise, something that he might enjoy. And a lot of the times, too, I don't even know if he likes it at first, because he doesn't really react when he first gets it, unless it's something he knows really well, a new iPad or something like that. He doesn't really jump for joy over it. It takes him a little while to understand it. I'll give it to him. He'll kind of ignore it. And you're like, "Oh, he doesn't like it." And then like 2 days later, I hear him playing with it in his room, and then we have a big party about it. But other people don't get it either, man. I've had family and friends, they buy him presents and they want to see him open it. And I'm like, "You're going to be disappointed." I don't know. They'll sit there and they'll stare at him like, and he'll open it. We'll force him to open it. It's like hand over hand, like he tries to run away. I'm like, "No, like open. And then he just looks at them and he goes. And I say, "Thank you," and he'll tap them and leave. And some people don't get it. And for the most part, people are cool about it. And I've had people be really cool about it. "Oh, I get it. I hope he likes it." But then you have people that just don't get it. And I wrote about that this week on hiblogimdad.com. The struggle of family and friends who might just not understand your kid. And it's 4th of July. So you might be at a barbecue right now. You might be around family. You might be trying to explain things to people who don't really seem to get it. So hopefully you can show them maybe that blog or this podcast, and hopefully they'll understand a little bit better. And I find that for the most part, people do. Once you give them the opportunity to ask the questions they want to ask, once you give them the opportunity to know your kid better, because some people are afraid to ask anything. I've had people come to me and they're like, "I don't want to offend you, but can I ask?" And then they will ask the least offensive question ever. And I think, how many people are holding back questions about Lucas that I'm willing to answer? Look, I want to tell you about my kid. Most times I want to talk about him. I want to tell you stories. I want to explain who he is. It's not a taboo subject. I have answers. In fact, the only time I ever felt like Lucas was a taboo subject was when he was tiny and he was being diagnosed and I didn't know the answers. Does he like school? Does he like his friend? I don't know if he likes school. I don't know if he likes his friends. Does he know it's his birthday? I hated that one. Does he know it's his birthday? I'm like, does he know it's his birthday? I don't know, maybe. And as a young parent, there's nothing that makes you feel worse than not being able to answer questions like that. And that was tough early on. But now my kid is 14. I love my kid. I know him so well. I want to answer questions about him. So for anybody out there who's got a question, I always tell them, come to me. If it comes from a place of kindness and genuine curiosity, if you want to get to know my son, I will. It's an open book, man. I'm literally open book. That was cute. Um, it's literally an open book. I want to share him. I want to tell you who he is. I want to explain who he is. And getting a chance to do that means a lot. I just needed to allow people to ask me those questions. I needed to make sure that they understood that it was safe for them to ask me those questions and ask me whatever they had. And I'll tell you this, I've never really had any offensive questions from anybody, but even at that point, if somebody would ask a question that might be offensive, if they're saying it in a way where they want to learn about him and they're saying it out of a genuine um, place of, I say curiosity, but a place where they want to get to know my boy, you can ask anything. You can ask anything. When it comes to the blog and publicly on the podcast and things like that, people ask me questions. There's certain things I don't talk about publicly. You may have noticed in the blog, I don't talk about some of the more personal things. He's a 14-year-old boy, so people ask me about like his bathing and using the bathing. I don't talk about that either way. Not saying yes or no. Not saying he does use it, the bathroom doesn't use it. I just wouldn't want. I have a feeling, even if he was neurotypical and had words, he wouldn't want me kind of talking about his life like that. And I also think it's the kind of thing we're saying anything either way, and I don't want to do it, even if he's doing something like that. Like even if he's caught up, I should say, with his milestones in that regard. I don't want to betray his confidence and betray his trust, I should say. Even if that trust is unspoken. Lucas doesn't understand what I do. Lucas doesn't understand this podcast. Lucas doesn't understand the blog. I was asked when I went to that Jubilee video last year. I had gone to LA to film a video for Jubilee where we talked about autism. There was a panel. It was wonderful. It was one of the best experiences that I had. But on it, I talked about whether or not Lucas understood what I did. And I said, Lucas doesn't know what autism is. Lucas doesn't understand advocacy. Lucas doesn't understand disabilities and neurotypical. He doesn't. So it's up to me to think to myself, if I was him, what would I be comfortable with? What would I want? And if I have any question, if there's anything that makes me feel a little like, just don't do it. I don't want to, give too much away about him. And he's a good kid. He's a wonderful kid. And I think that there's plenty of things that I can talk about in terms of his development, the things that he does that explains his story enough that it's important. And I think any parent out there who does have a child like mine that's nonverbal, maybe can't express how they feel about things like that, I think it's a big responsibility to remember that it's on us to make sure we keep his privacy private in the places where it should be. So yeah, I've been doing that for a while. It's been an experience, folks. It's been absolutely unbelievable. But like as I was saying, if someone were to come to me with questions, personal, one-on-one, like in family, friends, if they had a question, I answer it. This is my kid. I want you to know about him. So hopefully if that's what you're doing today or this week or whenever this summer, you're surrounded by people and they want to know questions, they want to know things about your kid, let them know that it's okay. Let them know that they can ask. Share. Just share. And do me a favor, look, pick up Hi World, I'm Dad. And one of the things that I love the most about writing this book, and this isn't just a sales pitch, this is a big deal for me. This isn't a book. This isn't just simply like a story that I put out there. For me, this is, it's going to be a movement, a major thing. This is something that it's a positive approach to a subject that I feel sometimes gets mired down too much in kind of fear tactics and misunderstandings. This book is for anybody out there who has a new child diagnosed with autism and is struggling with it. This is for parents like me who have a child around Lucas's age, have been doing this for years. This is for a grandparent that maybe doesn't get it, an aunt, an uncle, a friend, a colleague, somebody who wants to know about the parental perspective. If you're a teacher, I've had special ed teachers I've spoken to who've brought up things about reading this book. There's a lot of people that could benefit from this book. But out of all of them, I think the one who hopefully will benefit the most is my son. And the world will know him and the world will know the beautiful soul that he is, because unbelievable, dude. This kid's amazing. And that's the whole point. And that's what we do here. And that does it for me. Guys, thank you so much for checking us out here today on HiPodI'mDad.com, HiBlogI'mDad.com. Monday, Wednesday, new blogs every week. Hi World, I'm Dad. Available on Amazon and everywhere. Goodreads, I don't even know what Goodreads is. It's there. It's everywhere you can find it too. Follow me on social media. Hi, James Guttman. That's H-I, James Guttman. Come on, get with it. Why would I do that? Why would that be my name? H-I, James Guttman. That's on Instagram. It's on Facebook. It's all over the place. That does it for me, guys. Until next week, this is James Guttman saying, be well. Bye, Pod. I'm Dad.